Is this thing on? I think it is. All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Derek, and I am the owner, creator, and head silicone slinger here at Amavidi, where we make silicone toys for adults. Now, I was manning the chat while George was away because, well, when George is away, the mice will play. And lots of folks in the chat. We've got Ishtar. We've got Dub Sativa. We've got Tame. We've got Monolaf. We've got Foxy. Who was that? Star Fox. Who else? There was somebody else I wanted to give a shout out to. There's Frost. That's the one I was wanting to give a shout out to. And then we've got George in the background here. She'll be taking over the chat here in just a minute. All right. You may have noticed there's a screen here that you can actually see me. And yeah. I will remind everybody that we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Amavidi. You can drop over there and support us in any way you like, or you can just hang out with us. That would be cool too. So last week we had Kristen from Pleasure Forge on, and that was an awesome conversation. We're going to have her back on again soon. We've been chatting all week, and it's just one of those things that there's just so much we can get to that we haven't yet that I just have to have her back. But tonight we have Bat. Bat is a collector, and for some reason I had my notes wrong for like the last month, and I've been calling her a designer. And I have to apologize. She is a collector. She's got over 200 toys in her collection, and she has a very interesting theme. So we'll be bringing Bat on here in just a moment. I'm always curious where everybody is. So take a moment and just let me know where you are in the chat. I'm curious. I know we've got Dub Sativa, who's off in Spain, which is awesome. And yeah, I'm just curious. Well, with that, I'm going to bring Bat on, and we'll see if this works. It does. Bat, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Like I said, I had my notes wrong, and like I'm just reading off my notes, and then I'm putting everything together this week, and I realized I had my notes wrong. You're a collector.
I am, yes.
Now, how long have you been collecting?
I've been collecting a little under 2 years now.
Okay. So, sounds like you got started right about the time that COVID did.
Unintentionally, but yeah.
Okay.
I was actually still working through COVID, so I wasn't in the stuck-at-home group, so...
Gotcha. Yeah, Ishtar started probably about the same time as you did, and you've got kind of parallel collections as far as size goes, but you've got a little bit different theme to yours, and I've got a bunch of pictures, and I'll be showing them as we go along here. But why don't you take a second and tell us a little bit about the theme that you have for your collection, and we'll kind of work it out from there.
My theme is desserts and other food-esque pours. I do have some outliers. But originally, when I first got into collecting and just the community in general, my original theme was to buy all of the signatures from Bad Dragon. That is not where I stayed at all. So
yeah. But then you kind of developed this dessert theme.
Yes. I'm a huge fan of desserts. I think they're aesthetically pleasing and super tasty. So,
okay. Well, I'm going to throw some pictures up real quick, and I'll see if I can. Did I do this right? I think I did. Okay, good. So, tell me about this one. What do we have here?
So these are just kind of an assortment of like birthday cake-esque pours. They were more of like my pastel tone pours at the time that I had, and all of them in some way were some sort of either a more beige plain birthday cake-esque style or something a little bit different that didn't fit in with the rest of the collection, like a sorbet or like margaritas and stuff like that. So that's they don't look the same as the rest of my collection, but I like them anyway. So
well, point some of them out to us. Which ones or maybe you even tell us kind of where your collection started. Did it start in this kind of area or?
Yes, actually. So originally the more pastel tones are where my collection originally started to go. I was really into pastel cakes. So my first ever indie toy and indie custom was actually the Amarok that's almost in the center, and it's a drip cake rainbow pour. And it was a custom, and it's probably my favorite toy that I still have. It's just like delightful, and it's honestly what got me into collecting desserts because Tibbs from Fantasy Grove just knocked it out of the park. So
Yeah, Tibbs does some really good pours.
he does.
So, and actually, I know we've got more Fantasy Grove here in the pictures, and we'll come
Yes.
back to those in just a minute. But Tibbs and Alex were both on this live stream. Oh, they were number 2 or number 3 of this second iteration of
Yes.
the live streams. And they are great folks. They really
They
are.
are.
Yeah. So I'm curious now. You started off in these. Oops, I'm looking at what I want to show and not clicking on the things that I need to show. But out of these that we're looking at here, which ones are your favorites? I mean, we talked about the drip pour there.
The drip pour is definitely like special to me. Again, it was my first indie custom, all in one. The large Amarok in the back right corner, like the furthest one up, actually was a Secret Santa gift exchange that Rizu had done for me. So that one is also just really near and dear to my heart because it was super sweet. And then out of that, I also love my Gila, which is far left side for me, from Concoctions, which is a rainbow sherbet pour. And then my cake Catalfa on the right side from Paladin Pleasure Sculptors. So those are probably my 4 picks from the image.
Gotcha. So do you have favorite makers? Is there maybe your top 3 makers that you really like?
Oh man.
If you had to pick.
Fantasy Grove has to be. I own more Fantasy Grove toys than any other shop, just out of all of them, even out of like Bad Dragon being as big of a company as they are. So definitely Fantasy Grove is on there. And I guess I probably have like a top 4. I know that's cheating, but Paladin Pleasure Sculptors has killed it with every single one of the dessert pours that I have luckily managed to snag from them. And then outside of that, shops that I don't know as well, the Princess Court and Kisu and Friends are definitely like amazing with their hand painting and their base art and everything, and they always do really great with the like the dessert themes and stuff. So those are. I have a lot of toys from those 4 shops. Well, not as much Kisu and Friends, but I have so many customs planned. So,
yeah. Which I have rebooked Kisu and Friends. They were originally booked for October, but I found a spot and I've got them coming up. September 25th, I think it is. So they are 2 weeks out. No, 3 weeks, because next week we've got Venus, then we've got Fergus Monster, and then we've got Kisu and Friends. So I'm really looking forward to the next few weeks. We've got some good ones coming up. Now I'm going to switch gears here, and now we've got this one. Tell me about this picture.
these are my a lot of them are the rainbow vanilla yogurt parfait pours from Bad Dragon. They're kind of like my birthday cake, you know, like my pop of color, my little clown friends. There's a couple outliers just in the image. Like my first ever toy was that Nox, the plain one. My red velvet pours with my curse taco, and then like some gift pours and a giveaway that I won from Kisu, and otherwise, yeah, just like my obnoxious rainbow birthday cake aesthetic. So,
so you won something from Kisu and Friends.
I did. I won their their wave giveaway that they had for the Japanese wave base art that they had, and it's the bottom left-hand corner one. I sadly did not bring that one with me, or I would show you. I only brought my Aurelius from them, so I have limited
Ah,
space.
well, go ahead. Go ahead and pop that one up. I'm going to bring you back around. And
So this is my Aurelius, and I absolutely love it. It's perfect. It's strawberry shortcake. I
oh,
customed
it's
it at the
cute.
same time. And it has the cutest cake on the bottom that they did. They absolutely knocked it. Oh, I'm so sorry. I knocked it out of the park with it.
Yeah.
And it is like one of my favorite toys. So
You can hear George screaming in the background. She loves them. It's so cute. And she is, I think she's a little bit behind us. She's listening live. So there's a little bit of a lag there. So her laughs come out at the most odd times. But, yeah, that Kizu Inference, I love their base art.
me too. Oh my gosh, they told me that it takes them sometimes like over an hour, and I'm just like, that is commitment that I don't have. That's amazing. It's very good. They're very talented, and they are a delight. And I'm currently trying to plan another batch of customs with them. So very excited
Yeah.
about that.
I mean, Shop Dad was on a few weeks ago, and he was like, when they're on, I've got to watch because I want to know all their secrets. I want to know exactly how they're doing all of that. Because it's amazing what they're able to do.
Yeah, it is.
So,
It's insane.
hmm let's see. I'm going to switch to this one. Now, this one has a little bit different color palette going with to it.
Yes. So these are my coffee, caramel, just a little bit darker cakes, my mints, my cosmic brownie snitties, which are like my glasses holder when I go to sleep at night. I love them so much. My Neapolitan, I'm a big fan of browns. I know a lot of people tend to avoid browns in fantasy toys. It can be very reminiscent of like real skin tone and stuff like that, but I just find them so rich and creamy, and indie makers do it so well. Like they just make the colors look so nice.
I from the maker side, brown is a very hard color to work with because, like you said, you can get into skin tones, but also you can get into something that looks very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to walk that line between something that looks chocolate and something that is I don't want to say off-putting, but
Yeah.
unfortunate, shall we say,
Yeah.
or comes across unintended. That's probably a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
The is that were they cosmic brownies? The snitties up
Yes.
front. The snitties up
Yes.
front. Maybe I can point them out here. Those are cute. Those are cute. And those are from Fantasy Grove.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So, I think one of the things I wanted to get to was when I had Ishtar on, we talked a lot about how that collection develops and where you start from and then your progression. Tell me kind of in terms of like the entire lifespan of your collecting time, how has that collection gone from start to the middle and all to where you are today?
So just going prior to fantasy toys for a second, I did collect non-fantasy sex toys originally.
Okay.
I specifically loved to buy sets of toys. So, for example, the Cal Exotics line has like a set, like mini Marvels or California Dreaming, and then I would buy the entire line of those just because I thought it was nice. It was like a nice hobby and stuff. And as I got into fantasy toys, I originally started more so going for like use and applicability of the actual intent of the toy.
Right.
And I was very focused on trying to get that dragon models, as most people end up there originally.
It's a gateway drug.
It is. It is. Yeah, so I started there, and like I said, I was trying to collect signatures of their models. And then once I entered the indie scene, and I realized that there was more options, especially more options that were more size friendly in the indie scene. I kind of just jumped boat on Bad Dragon purchases, and I went into the indie scene. Fantasy Grove got me started with
Hmm.
Amarok as just a very good model. It works for me. It's really great. I like the shape. I'm a big fan. But also it is smaller than most Bad Dragon models would offer, and a lot of indies tend to have smaller sizes. Like their minis are actually something that I can use, or their smalls. And then I became obsessed with Dessert Pores, but then Dessert Pores started getting bigger, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna have to just start buying them to buy them. Like I can't use all of these. I just really like them.
Yeah.
So it started with like pastel cakes, and then it went to the rainbows, and then it went to the strawberry theme, and then more recently I really got into like chocolate. So that's my current fixation.
Yeah, it sounds
Um,
kind of like it went from something that was functional
yes.
to something that was more art.
Yes, it was
Okay.
definitely an appreciation where I was like, that's just too pretty. I really would love to have it. Like, I just want to be able to admire it and stuff. So it's not that they shouldn't be used one way or the other. You can't appreciate them for both or either or all together. But it was originally a functional intent, and now it is very much. I would like it to be functional, but I really just like the artwork and being able to appreciate the things that makers are able to do.
Yeah. So I kind of interrupted you there, and I think you were at the point where you had started getting into the chocolate pours from Fantasy
Yes.
Grove. So bring us up to date from there.
Yeah, I ended up just getting really into chocolate pours. And then more recently, I've been trying to custom more shops. I kind of ended up falling into the same shops repeatedly unintentionally, just because they were continuing to produce dessert like pours and content related to that. And then I recently was like, I really want to try new shops. Like, I want to reach out. I want to reach out to makers that are international,
Hmm.
or things like that, and just see if they're willing to do a custom. I'm a big fan of guided surprises. Just
Okay.
because I can give them a picture and be like, whatever you could give me a solid brown toy and I would love it. Like whatever you want to do
Right.
that. So
Okay.
yeah.
Um, Now, from the customer side,
Mm.
do you have an opinion about sizes that are more approachable? I guess I'm trying to work my brain around this idea because
Mm.
um, it's very easy for designers, makers to scale designs up and down.
Yes.
And do you think that the makers should or could have more approachable sizes? Do you think that's something that is a barrier to entry?
Um, I think in general in the indie scene, makers are very good at keeping minis or smalls or petites or extra smalls or however they make their smallest an approachable size. I I know it's not true for every shop, and there are some shops that specifically specialize in larger toys, larger than even what Bad Dragon can offer, and that is there is a place for that, and I love that for them.
Right.
I sadly, realistically, don't have a desire to purchase from them in most cases, just because it's not something that's functional to me. But I do genuinely feel that indie makers are very good at making sizes that are good for people who are just getting into this hobby, or are looking to explore or deal with things like pain and stuff like that. So I do think it's really great, and I'm glad to see that in the scene. So
Yeah, I am too. I just saw a note from Ishtar. Is firmness a factor when you see a toy in a drop?
so I know this is pretty controversial. I am less likely to buy a toy if it is super soft. There are barring certain models and stuff like that, because, for example, things like Snark's Maw, or like Scylla or Skyla, or however you pronounce it from Hodgepodge Entourage, they are intentionally wiggly, and I want them to be wiggly, so super soft is perfect. But when it comes to customing, I also know that certain firmnesses can make pours harder. So I tend to just go for medium in most of my things, not just because it's a decent thing for me to use in use, but it's also friendly towards makers who are trying to
Hmm.
produce something that, might be more complicated when you bring them a picture of a cake and you're like, make this. So
Yeah. Um, I've got one here from Sumptuous Galaxy. Did you ever buy the Meat Ming? Am I saying that right?
yes. I did not end up buying it.
Okay.
There was a Bad Dragon job recently, and there was a Meng in it that was their like meat coloration, and someone posted on Twitter and was like, someone should buy this and then do
Oh,
a ramen like photo shoot.
I
And I
did
was
see
like,
that.
I'm thinking about it, and I didn't, but I really wanted to, but I shouldn't be spending money right now, especially because I'm saving for a custom. So,
Gotcha. Well, I mean, you've got over 200 pieces in your collection,
yes,
and you're looking at about 2 years of collecting. That averages out to about 2 pieces a week. Does
yes,
that sound about right?
I have sold over 100 toys as well. So
Okay.
yeah, but those were originally like the first ones I started with, which again was like getting into signatures and stuff from Bad Dragon. So I don't like to count those as a part of my life.
Gotcha. So the secondary market, is that a place where you buy, or is that just where you sell?
I do both. I'm a big fan of the secondhand market. I think it's a nice place for me to find something that might be a little bit cheaper. Get to talk to some cool people, make some cool connections, maybe even follow each other on socials and stuff. And it's also a way for someone to make back some money that they can get towards a toy that they actually want more or would work better for them. So,
Okay. Because some people don't like the idea of buying something that's secondhand on the
mhm.
secondary market. Silicone can be sanitized,
Yes.
so that's a great thing about it. But not everybody is open to that idea, which I think is. I'm always interested to hear both sides of it, because it's almost an emotional reaction.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm definitely just on the side of like slap that baby in a pot of boiling water and call it a day. Like I don't mind. I think I've only had one weird secondhand purchase and I still was completely fine with it afterwards. I just again threw that sucker in some hot water and was like, it's fine. So
Gotcha. I've got another picture here I'm going to share. There is
ah!
just so much pink.
Yes, my favorites. I have added so much more since this picture. These are my strawberry shortcake and or just strawberry pours. Like there's like my hodgepodge entourage toys are like a strawberry sundae. But these are my pride and joy. I actually normally store them on an actual cake stand in my bedroom. I have several of them, but they're on the biggest one and they don't all fit. So
I mean, they are just so cute. I mean, there's just something cute about all that pink, but I mean, there's also the hand painting in there. I'm seeing
yes.
strawberries.
Yes. There's
And,
also the inclusions from Something Squishy Toys on their scaled wave. So
oh wow. Um, so okay. You said you had this on a cake stand.
yes.
So is this something that you display?
Yes. I'm currently between two houses, which I sadly cannot show you guys like all of my toys and my display and stuff, but I have about four shelves of toys, a 12-foot banister, a rolling cake tray, and then I have a dresser with the large cake stand on it. And so that has like all of my toys on it and stuff, at least my fantasy toys. But I do display them. They're usually just in my bedroom. They encircle my bed like a little cave. Um,
Oh, jeez. So, I skipped one. I skipped ahead one. So, here's another one. Let's talk about these real quick.
So these are Strange Bedfellows models. The Carl, I don't really know how to pronounce the one in the back, the feathered one that's like newer for them. It's Neapolitan. I was just so ecstatic to see it drop. It was in a firmness I really wanted. It looks super cute. But the Odin and Sela, as well as the dragon claw little vibe thing that they had. Were actually, I asked Avery if she would pour them, and she did. And I was like, I have to buy several of these, so I did. And they all were just amazing. The colors were so rich, like they just like are such like good colors for it. And she just knocked them out of the park, and I adore them so much. So they needed their own little shoot when they all came in.
Yeah. Tibbs is in the chat from Fantasy Grow, says, I adore your strawberry snark maw.
Oh, thank you.
One of the things I like about this one, and I don't know if I can highlight it, I love these drips.
I do too. Drips are my favorite feature on a toy. So even more than hand painting and stuff. So I love them.
Yeah. Okay, so can we point out the one that Tibbs was just talking about? Where is it? The strawberry shortcake maw, the strawberry snark maw.
It's right to right there, and it's like flopping over.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking that was it, but I didn't want to lead anybody astray.
Yes.
Now, also, you said you sold pieces on the secondary market. You've bought them.
Yes.
It's almost like, do you consider this to be an investment?
Oh no.
Okay.
I've lost so much money in this, I cannot.
Okay.
This is not an investment for me. This is literally for fun. It's a hobby. It's something that I like to do to explore myself, my sexuality, my enjoyment of art and stuff like that. And I love it. I don't sell anything for enough charge, actually. I usually sell toys for like 50% less than what I bought them for, because I just want someone to love them more than me. So if they just don't work out, like I'm not worried about it. So
Gotcha. Okay. And then these, what do we have here?
These are Hodgepodge Entourage models. I literally have never heard someone pronounce it like Skyla or Sela or anything. I have no idea what it is. As well as their squishions, which I have here. But they are like a strawberry sundae pour. And Hodgepodge Entourage, a wonderful shop, amazing pours. They do not do food pours very often. So I went for the large Sela that was in the back. And actually Penny Envy, another member in the community, managed to snag it for me. It was my first ever interaction with them. They were just amazing. I was so excited. I also bought the squishions, and then a community member named Ren reached out to me like a year later, and they were going to sell their smaller Sila and was like, I was told that this matches like 2 other toys you have. Do you want this? And I was like, yes, like I do. So I was very
excited. Yeah. Tame asks, do you find yourself going back to the same handful of shops, or do you try out new shops often? And what draws you to try out a new shop?
I feel like just by default, because bigger shops, like for example, like Strange Bedfellows drops on a pretty regular basis, like every 2 weeks. There's a more likeliness for me to buy from them because 1, they're in the United States, and 2, they do have some sort of regular routine schedule. And when I know Avery's on leave currently, but when she was there was always new dessert pours, so I have a lot of toys from them. I do like to go to new makers when I can, or try out new makers. Like I said, I'm trying to focus more on that this year, which is why I've been purchasing a lot less. Because I want to like save up money for customs to reach out to international companies and stuff that I haven't bought from before. But it's just really easy to kind of fall into a habit whenever you know that the toy is going to be of a certain quality, you know what like it's going to look like, you know realistically the customer service you're going to get, and you know that this shop is constantly producing more products to kind of accidentally fall into a rut.
Hmm.
But as for what makes me want to try a new shop, honestly, just a shop doesn't have to try very hard. Like if they like post a picture of something and it's like pink, I'm like, I can custom them. So
Gotcha. All right. And I guess a follow up with that would be, how would you find new indie makers?
I usually use Twitter, just because I have my tweets always set to like latest. So if someone like retweets something, then I can see it just by default instead of having to like sift through because it has less interaction or anything like that. But also the Discord has been like really great for that because people just pop in like, just found 3 new shops. Here's all the links, and I'm like, fantastic, thank you. Like, I don't have to go looking.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm always coming across new shops, and I follow them because I'm always curious what the new folks are doing. I'm always thinking ahead in terms of maybe they'll come on as a guest someday. But Twitter is a great place. It's a little bit hit and miss. You kind of just have to really be part of that community to see everything that's going on. Here's a question. Do you insure your collection? Do you insure your collection? I don't know why I can't say that.
Yes.
Okay.
We do have things in place without going too much into detail, but
Right.
I had to have a serious conversation. I temporarily moved back in with my mom because I'm between places, and she knows and she's fine with it. She thinks the artistry is super nice, like she thinks it's really cute, but she had to sit me down and be like, hey, like you're spending a lot of your money on this, like outside of obviously like my bills and stuff. And she was like, do we need to like insure this and or put this into like a will? And I was like, this is really serious, and the answer is yes. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, once you get to a certain point, and that was kind of my question about, do you see it as an investment? Because this is something that you have to protect. And
yeah.
I mean, we could get into the whole how do you store it and everything, but it almost sounds like you keep a lot of it out on display.
I do, yes. So if
Okay.
something were to happen and go horribly awry, they're all right there. So
Yeah. It's not like you can grab a suitcase and run out.
no.
All right, I'm going to skip on to. This is an interesting one. Tell me about this one.
So these are my, in quote, because I'm saying this with like love. These are my 2 least favorite toys that I own, and they are both cursed to me. My Saline, which is a lot simpler, was during the initial release for her. I love Khajiit, and I was like, I absolutely need one. So I was like attending the Bad Dragon drop for it, and a friend found a Strawberry Frosted Squares, which is one of my favorite colors from them. And so I bought it, and somehow, even though it was the only one, and it was the first drop, I did not get the stock photo. And I was super like upset about it because like there was one, like there was no other one.
Uh-huh.
So she's still super pretty, love the marbling, like honestly, like Bad Dragon did a really good job on her, but the taco is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It was my first introduction to the fantasy toy community, and I have a great hatred for that taco. And I keep it out of spite and solely out of spite. It was supposed to be a red velvet cake custom, and they originally, when this was before I was even collecting, this was like years, like this was when they first released Red Velvet Cake, and they still like had customs open 24/7 and stuff. I just happened to stumble on the site and I saw the Red Velvet Cake coloration, so I went through and like looked for all of the models that were compatible, and it had a specific little note that whatever you saw on the colored like display is what you were going to get. So
Okay.
I ordered the taco because it said it was compatible, and the way that it was displayed to me was the cream white with a red underbelly. That's all it was, and it had a highlight. But when Bad Dragon customer service got my order, they were like, hey, this was never supposed to be like a compatible coloration on Taco. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And they were like, yeah, so we can't do the stripes. And I was like, I don't want the stripes. I want what was on the color picker, which was this white cream base and then the red like stomach part. And they were like, well, we can't do that because then it's not red velvet cake. And I was like, that's what I want. Like I was like, that is what was, you guys had a guarantee.
Yeah.
And so they insisted on trying to do the split, which did not work, as you can see. They same day took down the option on their color display thing, and they will refuse to let people try and custom red velvet cake on Taco. It is also a flop. It has a nick in it, and they basically were like, hey man, this is the best we can do, and it's not what I wanted. It's super ugly. Like I loathe this like first interaction in this community, not like the indie community scene, but Bad Dragon, the fantasy toy, and I keep it solely because I project all of my malice onto it, and it like collects them like a weird dream catcher. So
Gotcha. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening in the chat. I'm hoping that George is catching all of that. I did see that Sumptuous Galaxy is working on a creamsicle pour right now.
Really?
Yeah, literally,
Oh my
as
gosh.
we're talking right now, she's
Oh,
degassing and pouring creamsicle right.
I'm so excited. I love creamsicle colors. I love it. I just love cream and orange. It's so nice.
Wow. So where are we with this one?
So these are my two Kisu and Friends toys, which the Kisu was the one that I won in the giveaway.
Okay.
And then when I won the giveaway, I asked them if I could also custom something to have it shipped with them because I'd really wanted an Aurelius from them. And they said yes. And so they asked me what I wanted. I gave them a photo of a strawberry shortcake, and I said, hey, I don't want to know what you're doing, but I do want you to charge me. Like, I don't want this to be charged, like, undercharged for anything. Like, I absolutely want you to, like, upcharge the crap out of me for whatever you do. And they did. And I was very pleased about that. And they were like, we're sorry if this is too expensive. I'm like, no, this is what I want. Like, I want you to get paid for whatever you're doing. And I had no idea what it looked like until it got here, and it was perfect. So.
Gotcha. And the blue and white one is the one that you won.
Yes, it is a wave. Yes.
And then we have these little bitty tiny teeny ones.
Yeah, they made a couple other ones of the strawberry shortcake for a drop that they did. So they gave me the teenies for those ones. Since they don't, they usually do the teenies with the customs and stuff. So it was super cute.
Yeah, and then these are the bases of those same ones that we were just looking at.
Yes, and they are beautiful.
They are. I mean, we've got the strawberry shortcake there, and that wave. It reminds me of that Japanese art.
That's what it is.
Okay. Oh man, one day I may just have to go like sneak into their studio and put a camera up so I could just watch how they do that, because that wave is amazing.
I have heard painting with silicone is not a fun experience, and so I am very impressed with all of the details that they managed to do.
Yeah. Amber asks, what is your number one wish list toy?
Oh no. I had two, and then I actually ended up by two really nice people in the community. I ended up having them fulfilled, so I have both of them. So yeah, one of them was a Bad Dragon birthday cake toy, and the other one was a Neapolitan stroker from Bad Dragon. But as far as now, currently, I am really looking for a daddy dog from Kisu and Friends, which is what I am trying to get set up to custom. And then as well, Hodgepodge Entourage just released a new model. I think it's called like Chikaru or something. It's a new knotted model. I love knotted models, so
Okay.
I really want a pour that speaks to me from them. So those are my two current wish list dream toys.
Gotcha. By the way, if you've got something on hand that you want to show off and you're talking about it, grab it and show it to us. Ishtar asks, how do you take such great photos?
I have a light box and a lot of determination to waste a lot of time cropping them out individually and then like coloring in the backdrop with art programs. So
Oh my God.
they're they are not good. I'm not a good photographer at all. This is my ultimate collection piece, which the owner of the Discord actually sold to me, and it is a birthday cake bad dragon toy, but it is not only a birthday cake one, which is rare, but it's also a chocolate one, which is like I didn't even know that this existed, and it's my like like my top crown jewel, if that makes sense, of my collection. So, I am in love with it.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Yeah. It's always interesting to see how people, what they gravitate towards.
mhm.
And no, that one's gorgeous. I liked that one. Frost asks, because we've got awesome folks in the chat. That so many questions coming up. What's your favorite thing about the indie scene?
Oh man, I love that. I love two things, but both of them encompass. I just love the community. I have such a good time, talking to people. I don't think I've ever like had an issue with someone other than when I first joined the community. Someone was like really upset with me for my taco for some reason. I don't know why. I don't even remember it that well. But I just love meeting people. Like I love talking to people. I just adore seeing other people's collections, and like there's a personal side of the indie market that goes with makers as well. Like they're people, and they interact, and they have their own way of posting on social media or asking for engagement, or how they interact with us in customer service regards, and such like that. And it's just so personal. Like it's a very like vulnerable community to be a part of when you're all collecting sex toys. But it's really fun, and everyone's different, has their own things, and I love it.
Yeah. I I just realized I was skipping through all that while you were talking.
That's
Um,
okay.
yeah, the one of the great things about the community is that there is so little distance between the makers and the community, the audience, the buyers, the customers. We're right there next to you, and so often it is a partnership between the makers and the folks in the community who are buying our products. And yeah, that's something I love about it as well. Now, I skipped up to this one. What are we looking at here?
These are my The Princess Court toys,
Okay.
which I do have one of my pips here with me. The
Which
Princess
one?
Court, the smaller pip I have. It was actually a custom that I got from them. I had never custom them, purchased from them, or anything like that before. But I really like the model, and I reached out to them, and I was like strawberry shortcake, and they killed it. Like it is perfect. I love it. The model's fantastic. I love the shape and everything. The little bow, and then it has all the like strawberries on it, and they
Yeah,
just did an amazing job. So I'm a huge fan. Huge fan.
gotcha. And that was the one that is right over here on the left side.
Yes, the left smaller one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, so these are Princess Court. Am I right?
Yeah, the Princess Court.
Okay. Gotcha. Um, and then now the one that caught my eye is the one in
Mhm.
the back there. This one. That
I love
marbling.
it. It's perfect.
It was just, it has that caramel and chocolate and vanilla going for
Yes.
it. It's gorgeous.
It's one of my favorite toys. I actually I have a really great group of friends, and they like to buy each other gifts, and I was unable to afford that one when it dropped, and so I didn't go for it. And one of them, well, I guess it was like a group effort. They surprised me with it, and it was really, really, really sweet, and it meant a lot. And it's probably one of my favorites in my collection.
Hmm. Tibbs from Fantasy Grove says, I'd love to hear more about your doodles of toys and characters. You did my amazing Discord banner, and I love your doodles of yourself with the toys. What do you love most about drawing your toys?
I just think it's fun to kind of like journal my toys and my relationship with them, how they make me feel, which is usually very like confident and like fun, very authentic. But as for just drawing in this community in general, I love drawing personas. I love drawing other people's characters, and I love drawing characters for and from shops. I just really like having the character association. I'm not someone who utilizes the character in the fantasy aspect, which I know some people do, but I do think it is so fun whenever shops have a little character or bio or something that goes with it. But in general, I just really like to draw things that I enjoy, and I enjoy this community, and I enjoy the content that comes from it. So I just like to draw a lot of stuff about it.
So do you have an art background?
Yes, I am actually currently an independent illustrator, but I draw, well, to not beat around the bush, I draw fetish work, so it is not at all associated with what this like community is or anything like that. So that's where I do my work at currently.
Gotcha. And have you thought about branching out into other designs? I think that was a follow-up from Tibbs, but I think you kind of just answered that in that you've got, various categories that you're doing art in.
Yeah. I do. I actually got to do my first art piece in the community for Fantasy Grove. I did the design for their Jacoby model. And then I did 2 business cards for them for Pride. And now I have something that I'm doing for another maker and also a friend that will hopefully be coming up soon. But I just in general really like to draw people's characters or their toys and them together, even if they aren't, shop owners and stuff. I just really value that connection that someone can have between a little fun character that they made and also their collection. So
yeah, as we're talking here, I'm going through and zooming in on a few things that catch my eye, because like this drip, I don't know why, but that drip just is everything for me right now. So I want to remind everybody that we are taking questions from the chat. If you do have any questions, drop them in there. I will work them in as we go along. And George is doing an awesome job of collating those for me so far. Ishtar says, we need a pronunciation guide from the shops for their toy names.
I agree. I do agree. Strange Bedfellas unintentionally did one. They did a poor tour during one of their drop weeks when they were busy, so they did like a recording of it, and they said all of them, and I was actually correct about all of them, but I have not heard them say the Carl, which is Karl, and I don't know how it's pronounced.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's somebody who did one that was Qarl. I can't remember who did that one.
That is this one, yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yes. I might have misspelled it.
Let's see, August Frost. Regarding both indie shops and the collector community, are there any changes that you hope to see in the future, or anything that you're looking forward to?
I feel like change is a really loaded question, maybe unintentionally, just because of what I have seen recently in the community, and I'm not really sure that that's like the thing to like go into here. I think that's just like a bad vibe of certain things that have been going on. But things that I'm looking forward to, honestly, like I am just looking forward to seeing shops grow and new shops come onto the scene. I think there's a lot more education about how to do this and do it safely. I think people like Shop Dad are working really hard to do that and make it accessible for people to ask questions. And I think that's important because it is more accommodating and friendly to people like as collectors like me, so I can get information on how things are being done. So like with the wiki, but also like mm, it's just nice to be able to see that change come in through the shops as well on their side, not just from a collector standpoint, but maybe making it a little bit more accessible to people who didn't have a place to start. And I think that's really great. So I like what they're doing.
Yeah, this might be a time where I can plug myself here a little bit. So I have my YouTube channel where I show a lot of this stuff, but I'm actually working on a new website. It's called imakesextoys.com, and it's funny. I see it kind of, and this was unintentional, but Shop Dad and I were working on these parallel ideas of kind of bringing all these ideas or these concepts and these skills and the technology or the technical aspects of it together. And he ended up with a wiki, and I've ended up with more of a website where it's a little bit more conversational, whereas his is a little bit more structured. And so I'm really kind of still building out imakesextoys.com, but that's something that I'm really trying to bring the community in a little bit more so that they can see behind the scenes a little bit. And let's see. Joshua Valverde. Firecrotch has the saber, and I'd love to see you have a Firecrotch versus Amavidi sword fight. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, George is over here kind of giving me the background on that one. But yeah, sword fights. I would be up for that. Yeah. Let's see. What else am I missing? Did I get through all of the pictures? I think I have a couple more. Oh, I have one left. This is the last one. What are we looking at here?
These are my strawberry shortcake toys from Paladin Pleasure Sculptors. They are dreamies for me. The Oberon, which is their newer model on the right side, is an amazing toy. I did actually want that one in super soft, and I really think it works really well with the model and the shape and everything like that. But these are definitely like ultimate dreamies for me, just in general, and really appreciative to Linda and again my friends for helping me be able to have these, because it was a surprise and it was really sweet of them. So it was really nice, and they are my favorites, especially from like in general. It's just like a cute thing, and I do have them here. And I love I love my Oberon very much, and it's perfect.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, those are gorgeous. Linda is also going to be on. I have to check the date, but she's booked for probably 4 weeks out, I think it is.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, because I think I said it on Twitter, so I am looking forward to that.
But Linda was, we'll go back to, a year and a half ago when I first explored this YouTube thing. She was one of my first guests, and she was so awesome because I was having so many technical problems at that time. Tibbs, back in the chat, asking if you could give any advice to brand new collectors, what would you tell them?
Oh my gosh. Get a hold of your FOMO. Like, that is the number one thing, and it comes up all the time with other newer collectors. Like the fear of missing out, like FOMO phenomenon, and spending a lot of money on things that you might not want or need or like, is just such a problem when you first get into this hobby. And it took me quite a while to be like, okay, like we need to slow down and like really consider like what the port is, what the toy is. Do you need more of this model? You have like 10 Amaroks. Do you need more Amaroks? Like you probably don't. And yeah, it's very hard. So I would definitely say slow down. Try to appreciate the toys you have, whether that is an aesthetic or in use, and take time to get to know that pour or that toy. And then kind of branch off of that. It is important to remember that there will always be more toys, and it might
Mhm.
not be the exact same pour, but there will be similar pours, or there will be pours that you like even more, and you shouldn't be spending the amount of money that some of us have spent getting into this hobby, regardless of if you can afford it or not. It's especially because, like I said, I ended up selling like easily 100 toys, and that
Mm.
wouldn't have happened if I had reined this in correctly initially, but I did not. So that is very important to me, and I know it's something other people struggle with, even being in this community for years. So that is what I would recommend.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was actually just going back through this afternoon and editing some of my conversation with Ishtar. And she kind of made the same point, which is that the poor will come back around. You'll be able to get it eventually. It may not happen today, but it'll come back around for you. Let's see. Tame says, I never would have considered a dessert pour if it weren't for Bat. Now I have a beautiful mini s'mores toy. Thanks for encouraging me to branch out.
I love you.
Let's see. Oh, here's an interesting one. Are there any other practical uses besides glasses holders?
I use my toys for a lot of things that they should not be used for. My Sneeze glasses holder is definitely the number one. But I use them as weights for when I'm having like anxiety, or I use them as stim toys, obviously, which a lot of people do. I use them to do things like prop my phone up if I'm traveling and need to like do my makeup. So I use them for that. I set things on them like my pill bottles and stuff like that, so I can remember to like take my medication and stuff. So I misuse my toys all the time.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, I've got just a couple of more questions, and Fiona has decided that she wants to be
Hi,
a part of
Fiona.
the conversation and knock stuff off my desk. But let's see. Oh, I have something I want to show because I've talked about this recently, but I don't know that I've ever shown it here. And this is totally me going off on a tangent here. But this is one of my turbo flops.
Oh
I made a mistake in my recipe, and that thing
God.
just falls over.
no! It just looks like it's like deflating. It's so sad. I love it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I just had to put that out there because I pulled it out and made a video this week and posted it, and it is just so hilarious to see that. But that kind of brings up another question I wanted to get to, which was, how do you feel about flops?
I love flops. I love
Okay.
them. They're perfect. They're amazing. I love that they bring something a little special to the toy. I don't really mind that they bring it down in price, but I do think it's nice to give that option to people, make it a little bit more affordable. But I think that they are hilarious, and a lot of my toys are flops, and I am totally fine with that. I think there are very um, like the only lines I would cross is like if it looked like someone bit like 3 inches out of the shaft, and then I'd be like, okay, like there's a limit here. So
Yeah, I've seen some of the things that I have no idea why Bad Dragon does this, but it's almost like they take a drill to it, and they drill out this hole, and it's kind of amazing that they would do that to it. but they do. And
Yeah.
but I think I've also heard about wide trims. That seems to be a thing with Bad Dragon, and it becomes a flop.
Yeah, they if they don't trim the toy the correct way, sometimes they'll like under or over trim it and it's like a flop. And at that point, if they're gonna count it as a flop, just like save yourself some money and grab it. Like it's I have a couple of them. I don't have any with me that are like weird trims, and they don't even like sit like sideways. They don't have a lean or anything like that. So just that is the smallest offender for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's different kinds of flops, and so if they've got a lean to them, does that bother you at all?
No,
Okay.
I just think it adds so much personality. My large silo has so many flops. It's literally the omega flop of mega flops. Like it is a super flop from Hodgepodge, and it is just riddled with issues, and it's the perfect toy. Like I love it. It adds so much character.
Yeah. Well, did we get through everything that you had there that you wanted to show off?
I just brought a couple. If I could show off, hmm, if I could show off one more, probably would
Yeah.
be, I know these my Kudu Voodoo Stella's chests are like favorites for me. They're my favorite sim toys. I take them with me, like both sizes, basically everywhere I go. I adore them. I'm a big fan of chest models, just in general, and I wish there were more. So if you're a maker and you're out there and you're hearing this, like I'm
Oh.
looking.
Yeah, we do have makers. We've got Pleasure Forge in the chat. And I know I saw Sumptuous Galaxy and Fantasy Grove. Um, so yeah, there's a lot out there that are paying attention to us. So, well, I'm about ready to wrap it up. Was there anything else that you wanted to get to? I
No.
think I'm always curious, kind of, how people develop their collections and their fascinations, and even I asked earlier about what advice you would give a new collector, and I think your comment about letting go of the FOMO is very real. Which actually, I want to follow up one last question, and then we'll wrap it up. Do you like drops as a customer? Do you prefer drops or?
Oh man. So I don't have a strong opinion. I like drops
Okay.
just because it's fun for me. And if I miss a toy, I know that if it's sold that fast, it went to someone who will like it as well. I do appreciate shops who do pre-shop, for example, just because it gives people a little bit more time to like take a look at what is going up closer, before it goes up. But that is not something that all shops have the ability to do, and that is totally fine with me. I don't mind drops at all. And I understand why it is very difficult for shops to offer customs in an unlimited amount, basically, where there are shops that do, MTOs like Strange Bedfellows, friend requests, and such. I know Pleasure Forge had done them in the past. I had one done with them. Or they'll open them in limited slots and stuff. I really don't know of a better way to shop toys that is both friendly to the consumer as well as the shop, other than drops.
Mm-hmm.
So I am fine with them, if that makes sense. Like I just feel like they make sense, and I do enjoy what the community coming together and then sharing all their little drop snags and like helping each other and stuff. But
Yeah.
it is really person to person, and I definitely understand why it's the go-to method for shops to sell their content, and I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, you mentioned Pleasure Forge, and
Yes.
in the chat, Pleasure Forge said, Bat does the Lord's work moderating spaces.
I do moderate in the Discord specifically. There's other servers, but they're smaller or adjacent to the community. But the Discord is where I spend most of my time on Discord. So
Yeah. And one last time, I want to show this guy off. Just okay. Well, Bat, it has been fun. I've had a blast. I appreciate you sharing your collection, and if you'll hang out for just a moment, say goodnight, and then you and I'll wrap up in just a bit.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. It's really nice.
Yeah,
Good night.
absolutely. All right. Well, that was Bat, a collector with over 200 pieces in their collection, and a wonderful conversation. I'm always curious to see and to hear how the other side of the screen sees what we do. And I will remind everybody, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Amavidi. You can also catch us. I'm going to get my notes up here. Next week, we have Venus, who is a designer. We've got Monster Fergus coming up on September 18th. I will say that Monster Fergus is probably the most humble person that I've met in quite a while. We've got Kizu and Friends coming up on September 25th. And then we have Linda from Paladin Pleasures coming up on October 2nd. All right, everybody. I'll catch you next time. Next Sunday, 7 o'clock. Bye.